Hi, Chris here. How are you doing? So this right here in my hand is Chuwi's first mini PC. It's the Hibox-hero. Has 4 gigabytes of RAM, runs a quad-core Atom X5 Z8350 CPU, 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Now the good thing about this is it runs dual operating systems, so it has Windows 10 Home on there and Android 5.1. So let's have a look at it in greater detail. So it's made out of this plastic here that's a matte plastic, and you can see it picks up a few little fingerprints and things like that. So along the front of it, we have an SD slot, 2 USB 2 ports, power button, and along on the right side here, DC in, USB 3 full-sized HDMI Ethernet port, which is a gigabit one. Then we have 3.5mm audio jack, and a small little hole there to reset the device if we need to. On the back, there's a slot here, so you can actually connect it up to a brace that you put on the back of a TV or monitor. It's got like a standard VESA mounting for that. 4 rubber feet. So there are microphones here on the left-hand side. 2 of them. Now we don't normally see those in mini PCs. Along the top, this other little tiny dot you can see there, that is a blue LED. Now you can get this optional remote for it. Now when I looked at the press images, it looked like it was the size of a standard TV remote, but it's actually really small, as you can see, fits right in your hands. Very comfortable. Now it works in a mode that is very similar to that of if you've used an LG's Magic Remote or the Nintendo Wii. Well, it's got the same kind of function. So there's an accelerometer or sensors in here. So if you push that button to get into the mouse mode, then you simply move to the left, the mouse pointer will move to the left, moving to the right. You get the idea, it works exactly like that, and it actually works quite well. Works both in Windows and in Android 5.1. Now it takes 2 AAA batteries, and it doesn't come with those. So when you get the box, the optional remote here, you need to remember to buy those batteries there, of course. And it's transmitted there via this, I think it's infrared, to the receiver, which is a USB. So you have to give up one of these USB ports here for the receiver, which is this right there. But it works well, and you can either use that mouse mode or disable that and just use that to go through Android, for example, there. And the power on and off is to put it to sleep and to wake it up there again. So when you first power up the HiBox, you're presented with the dual boot selector here. So using the remote, left or right, I can select Windows or Android, but I'm going to start the review now in Android. So the ROM comes completely free of bloat. Now there is a system update application here where Chuwi will be pushing out over-the-air updates. Now I did actually receive one update when I first got the unit, and now at the current stage it doesn't have any more system updates to come through. So the performance of the ROM is actually really good. I mean, it's not a bloated heavy launcher that you often see, and not a custom launcher. And I like the fact that Chuwi don't do this. Now it is still running Android 5.1, unfortunately you can see, so 5.1 isn't exactly new. I was hoping for at least Android 6, but that isn't the case there. Now storage in Android, you only get 9 gigabytes free, and I've already eaten into that. I only have 3.19 free, so that's one of the cons there. In Android you don't get a lot of storage, so if you're someone who wants to play a lot of big games, then you're going to have to probably just install them, play the game, then uninstall it, if that is possible. So I ran some benchmarks, and I'll just quickly show you those. So here we have an Antutu score. I mean, this is an okay score considering for the chipset, slightly faster than the older Z8300. This, of course, is the revised one, the Z8350. So a few other benchmarks. Geekbench 4 score, very good score, almost touching 1000 on the single core. Again, this is a very good score for the chipset. And here I tested out the wireless, sorry, not the wireless, but the Ethernet port. Good speeds. I managed to get higher in Windows for some reason, but it just could have been the time of day or something there. And finally, Slingshot Extreme score. Another good score, again for this chipset. So I'm just here in Kodi. Someone asked me to run this. Now I've just got one 4K demo clip here that I actually recorded on a Samsung Galaxy Note 4 with a custom bitrate hack. So it's actually running at 16 megabits per second, I think it is. And that is playing perfectly. It's just keeping up there. So if I try and go ahead, no, that's fine. So no issues with 4K, at least encoded at this bit rate. Now I'll test out the 2K gravity trailer here I have. No problems with that. This is Mortal Kombat 5 with playable frame rates. It's very smooth, it's not bad at all, 1080p. And I'm using a Bluetooth controller to play this. This title's Clash of Clans, and you're probably wondering, how can you play a game like this that is touch-based? Well, I've connected up my mouse, and it is possible to play this. You just use the mouse pointer to go along, using your mouse button to select and do everything you'd normally do with touch. It's just not as fluid and a little more awkward, but at least it is possible to do that. Now this game, of course, runs perfectly fine on this hardware with 4GB of RAM. And this title here is Real Racing 3. And again with playable frame rates. Mortal Kombat X. Now this isn't running a full 30 frames per second. It seems to have some slowdown. And it's not supporting my controller, so a little more difficult to play this one. I think you might be able to just use a mouse to tap and do the combos. I'm not sure how I will do those swipes. Actually, it does work with a mouse. It's just swiping down there. Frame rate's okay. Very detailed game, of course. Really high level of graphics. It looks great. So let's move over into Windows now and check out performance there. I will test out a couple of other games as well and just run through the device manager and things like that. So to do swap over from Android, all you need to do is go and click here to the Switch OS menu. Okay, so here in Windows now, you see that it has 4GB of RAM fully allocated. So they haven't dedicated any to the GPU. Windows activated without any problems there. And in the device manager, just wanted to show you two things here. So the internal drive for storage is a Toshiba 064G70. Now here are the speeds of that. That's an eMMC. Very, very, very good speeds here for that type of drive. Especially the 4Ks. They are very nice. Now under the network adapters here, so we have a gigabit Ethernet port and a Broadcom wireless ABGN. So supporting their dual band as they claim, I can't get it to detect any of my 5 gigahertz networks that I have for wireless. I don't know why that is, but I do think it's got something to do with this being Chinese. Perhaps it's a slightly different band they have in China. I need to dig into that a little bit deeper. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. And also, there's the audio codec, a couple of other things there. So we did test out the speed of both the wireless, which is right here, which is, at the time, there were some downloads and things going on. That was about the kind of speed I got from other devices. So that's only wireless in. Now you can get up to around 45, 48 megabits per second. On the other hand, the Ethernet port, very, very good speeds. No problem there out of my router with my fiber line, which is 300 megabits per second. So I did run Geekbench 4, as you saw also in Android, and the performance is similar, a little slower here, but not bad at all for this type of chipset. So I have Kodi running now. I'm testing out a 4K video. This is Big Buck Bunny, and I can skip ahead just fine. It's a little slow, you can see. It takes a little while. I mean, this is only an eMMC drive that it's running off, so it's not an SSD. Perfectly fine. Now Windows will also play the 4K files. You can also stream 4K files out of YouTube. Fine. Chrome, it runs like crap. Drop frames, not very good. Here's the Asylum Trader as well that I will test out, another 4K clip. So just skip ahead.
The whole system.
Hey, bring down the bone saw!
And that plays 4K just fine. Now you have to remember that the HDMI port is not HDMI 2.0, so what's going to come out of this port is only 4K, 30 frames per second maximum if you do have a 4K TV. Now one problem I have run into, and this is probably the only thing I've discovered actually so far that I've been using the mini PC now for quite a few days, is there's something wrong with the microphones on there, at least in Windows. Now when I record anything through them, this is what happens. I'm going to have to turn this down because it's a very, very loud interference scope static noise. And as you can hear, that's absolutely horrible. So I don't know what is going on with the microphones. Perhaps I have a fault with my unit, or it's something to do with the drivers. I really don't know there, but not good to see. So Windows performance in and out of folders moving around Windows is relatively quick and snappy. Edge performance, very good, very smooth, really quick to load up and render pages. Chrome on the other hand's not as fast. Firefox is fast, but again, I recommend just using Edge really on the atoms. You can use Internet Explorer as well. That doesn't run too bad there. Now, things like Docs, Excel, only light Excel spreadsheets. The Atom's perfectly fine at, like a media player as well. It's good for those kind of tasks, but you wouldn't want to do any serious 4K video editing, for example. You couldn't even do that to start with. But even 1080p, you try and edit 1080p videos on this, it's not recommended. I mean, it's going to be so slow. You can use something like Power Director to use Intel QuickSync to encode videos a little faster, perhaps. But, you know, this is not a chipset that's really aimed at that kind of thing. So let's test out some games. So this is Asphalt Extreme here, and you can see on the right I have the temperatures currently being displayed. It's getting quite hot there, around 84 degrees. And you can see the CPU load and memory also on the right. And because this isn't fanless, because this doesn't have a fan, it's fanless, it's normal it gets hot, quite warm, as long as it doesn't run into thermal throttling, which it hasn't yet. But so far these temperatures getting high, but the frame rate is actually really good. This is very smooth. So I'm going to try it now on full screen 1080p. Okay, so here we go. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, 800 times 600. Very, very choppy there. You can see dip down to 11 frames per second. It is on the lowest settings, and I do think I'm going to really struggle to kill anyone. I struggle to kill anyone, even at 60 frames per second. But no, yeah, that is choppy. Look at that, 18 frames per second, 16, 17. So, you know, you won't be playing Counter-Strike on this kind of machine. Oh, maybe I can get one kill. No, yes, I did. That was just a stroke of luck, though. Alright, so this is a little bit better. This is 720p, and it's around 30 frames per second. I mean, it's not ideal. I wish it was a bit faster than this, but it just seems that it's struggling a little with all the animations and things going on. Now, I can move around the map at least quite quickly. So this game looks like it's only just playable. Time to check back now on those temperatures. So has it gone over 85 degrees? And do we have any thermal throttling? No. So even though it is getting up to 85, that is really a bit too hot there. The main thing is though, no thermal throttling. This is after almost 3 hours. So I think it's safe to say that it's not going to actually exceed that. Okay, so that's my review there. So overall, I really liked the performance of Android on this. As you saw with the gaming there, playable frame rates in all the games I tested. It was only Mortal Kombat X that dipped down a little bit. The ROM, completely stock, no bloat on there whatsoever. Very good. And Windows, okay, Windows 10 performance was okay. Playing games on there wasn't really that good apart from the store games. League of Legends managed to get around 30 frames per second, but you could lower the resolution, but really not ideal. Now it did get up to 85 degrees, which is very warm, but it didn't trigger any thermal throttling, reducing the performance. So that is good, but 85 still, it's getting really a little bit too hot there. But considering it doesn't actually have a fan in here, it is almost kind of normal for these mini PCs to heat up like that. Now the real problem with this was the microphones. In Windows, it couldn't get them to work at all. All they did is produce this static noise. And then the 5 gigahertz band wireless, I could not get it to connect to any 5G bands of wireless that I have and set up. So I think the frequency is different. I think China runs 5.3 gigahertz, and in Europe we run 5.0, so that is why it wouldn't detect them. Other than that, very solid mini PC. I like the fact that it also you can get an optional remote for it. You can connect this onto a monitor or a TV with a VESA mount. And the best part is the price too. It's around about 130 US. I saw it going for on gearbest.com. Thanks a lot for watching this review, and hopefully I will see you back in the channel soon. Bye for now.